All right, y'all, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I'm excited to be with you. Today, I'm going to be talking about, I'm continuing this thread that we've talked about. So if you tuned in 2 episodes ago, I talked a lot about what my morning routine is and how that completely plays into just being a high-performance individual. Then last episode, I invited you to participate with me in some of my evening routine and talked about why that's so important. Again, on how to be a high-performing individual. And so today, I want to continue this thread. I'm talking about systems today. So my hope and desire is by the end of this episode, it's kind of like this 3-part series where we've talked about some really important systems that will help you become a high-performance individual, which is synonymous with becoming a sovereign individual or a sovereign family. Okay, so let's talk about systems. I want to tell a story, and this is something that's happened to me today. It's ongoing right now. Is that I am learning how to run Facebook ads, a successful Facebook ad campaign. So maybe some of you who are listening are already like total wizards at this. It's like totally your black belt master Facebook ad manager. That's awesome. I'm not. I've run like small ad campaigns before. I've also like boosted posts and things like that, but I've never really approached it like taking it seriously. So and as a result, every time I've boosted a post or every time I've run like whatever ad campaign I've run, never done well, right? I just lost money, and so I wanted to change that, and so we have, if you're following kind of our story and our strategy, like that, we built and released this software platform that supports my agency and the service that we provide to business owners, and so it's been great. However, it's incredible. The software is amazing at solving problems, but it's been a challenge for me to figure out the right way to sell it. And that's just part of life, you know. Like if you don't know this already, you certainly will. I'm gonna enlighten you now. Is that if you have a solid, awesome product, that does not mean it will sell well. Okay, it really matters about the product and its fit in the marketplace and the pain that it's solving, and can you find a group of people that really feel that pain in a big way. So and where are those people gathering? How do you get your message in front of them? All this kind of stuff. So that's a little bit of a ramble just to set up the story and say I have sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of services, but I've never run an ad campaign. So it's all been through organic traffic, basically, and like organic social media marketing or something like that. But never run a paid ad campaign, or at least a successful one. And so I've hired somebody. I am learning it. I'm approaching it like a student. And as a result, today I launched my first ad. So it's too early to tell how well it's doing. I'm just like giving you this backstory to say that's where I'm at. Okay, and it's exciting. It's intimidating. And I'm sure I'll make mistakes and need to tweak things. But like I'm excited. I'm committed to this learning moment. Now, why does this matter, and what does this have to do with systems? Well, first, I say I might make mistakes. It's not that I might, it's that I will, and I already have, because there's like, if you've never run a Facebook ad campaign, there's a way that you structure it on the back end to like set up the like business manager and the ad account and the Facebook pixels, and you gotta like sync your domains and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I did it wrong the first time. And so I pretty much lost an entire day, because it takes a good chunk of time to like set up the back end systems. And I invested an entire day doing it, only to discover that I had really made some key errors, to the point where it made better sense just to like tear it down and start completely over. So I did it a second time, and didn't, I fixed the things that I did wrong, but only to discover that I had made other errors, and so I had to tear it all down and start over again. So this has now been like 3 straight days of work just to like get the systems in place ready to run like a really basic ad campaign. Like, this is nothing crazy. It's just like totally basic. And so it was kind of frustrating and disheartening to like, have to redo work and like totally redo it, like starting over. But the thing about it is, especially with ads, is that if you are serious about setting it up correctly, then running paid ads can be one of the best systems for leveraging your time if you're a business owner. Because, without paid ads, I can speak from experience, in the world of organic marketing, I'd be sending messages or cold calling people, or trying to do webinars or some other form of like non-paid advertising, or collaborations, things like that, right? I know all of the organic space. Okay, so if you hear my ideas and you're like, oh, but you didn't mention this, I've probably done that thing. Just so you know, okay. If it is in the organic realm, meaning like I'm not spending money to do that thing, I've done it, and so it can be, and I've done it. So it's not that it can't be done. It's like, remember, I've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of services and information products doing that. So it's totally possible. It's just that it takes, your full-time attention to do that, and then it competes with your time to actually fulfill on the thing that you sell, right? So if you sell a product, you're like, yay, ring the bell, I made a sale. Now I have to, go print a shipping label and like put it in a box and ship it and like go take care of that, and that takes time. So the time that you're fulfilling, meaning putting it in a box and shipping, you're not selling still. So it's kind of like it competes for your attention. But if you are successful at running paid ads, then it's a highly leveraged way to spread your message and spread your brand, and get more clients into your funnels and all that kind of stuff. So like, I get that. So if you're really committed to like leveraging your time, then like you need to run a paid ad strategy, or some kind of paid strategy. It might be like a paid collaboration or whatever, but like if you really want to leverage your time, then the system of advertising is how you do that. But to be successful, you have to start from a good spot. Like, you have to make sure there's certain principles and systems that have to be in place. Because if not, like, you can, sure, you don't like technically need everything to be perfect or in place in the back end systems. But if you don't, then you're going to run into problems later on. If you have a certain ad and it really crushes it and it takes off, all of a sudden you're going to start having scaling issues, things that are wrong. So that's why I spent 3 whole days and didn't run a single ad. Right? I was just working on back-end systems. So anyway, that's the story I just want to share with you, because we're talking about systems today. Now, I want to share another story with you. This happened a year ago. At the time I was running, it was the height of Petronas Energy, which is my engineering firm that I founded and started this right when I quit my job. My first real venture in the entrepreneur space was to start an engineering firm. And I grew it, and the height was about a year ago. And we had like some cool projects that we're working on. And in about 2 weeks, I hired 8 engineers, which was a huge effort. 2 weeks. I mean, we're talking like everything from front end to back end. So like creating, I guess, putting it out there in the world that you're hiring, collecting resumes, sifting through, finding the good ones, extending invitations to interview, hosting the interviews, making the selections, like finding the 8 people that are going to be successful candidates, and then onboarding them through all the paperwork and documentation, and then once they're onboarded, training them, and then once they're trained, then managing them and leading them and inspiring them. Okay, so like all of everything front to finish for the hiring process was 2 weeks. Whew, man, I tell you, that was a crazy effort, and it would have been like not impossible, but like way harder. Probably impossible. It probably would have been impossible if I wasn't fiercely committed to creating systems. So I documented that entire experience, everything, so that I was like, I am not going to repeat mistakes at all. I'm taking massive notes, and I'm putting them in like Google Docs and organizing them and adding like tabulations and hashtags here and there, so that like I can easily find it. If anyone wants to know how to scale a team, how to hire and do it well and do it right? It's not just like, I need warm bodies. No, it's like, we're gonna find people that are congruent with our core values, and they're talented, and they can support a good product, right? It's like, no. So if you have any questions about how to do that, I'm your guy. Okay, because I was determined to create systems. And the thing is it would have been impossible, totally impossible, to do that without building systems that support. Okay, so when you build systems, it's gonna feel like you're not getting stuff done, because at the beginning, so much of your energy is spent like building the system, and like making the mistake and capturing that, like taking the time to write it down and reflect and be like, why did this happen? How can we, create is it a checklist? Is it like a pipeline? Is it whatever? What do we need to create here so that this doesn't happen again? Okay, so like at the beginning, there's just like so much of that, like documentation, and like getting the stuff out of your head and onto paper or onto a digital file, like that. Upfront, it's like this huge upfront investment, and but it pays off, because it starts to snowball and it starts to leverage your time, and you start to be able to not have to think about it anymore. It just happens on autopilot, and it becomes super easy to train somebody, instead of like you hire someone and you're like, I don't have time to tell you how to do this, just watch me. And like that's the old way of doing things, right? It's like people just sit there and watch you, and you pay them, and they're just like, I don't know what you're doing, but like I'm just gonna watch you until I guess I feel comfortable doing it. and so instead of that, you're gonna get the stuff out of your head and onto paper, so people can actually make sense of what you're doing. They can follow it. They can improve on it. They can understand it. So like if you made it this far listening to the podcast, like odds are like you must be a great fan, because like honestly, when we talk about systems, sometimes it's like really dry, okay? But it's such an important point. If you truly are committed to becoming a sovereign individual and family, like it matters. And I've hit really hard on my experience, like starting and growing a business, or starting a business again from scratch because your last venture, flopped on its face, and that's okay. But like these same principles apply in the family life, okay, and in your personal life, right? It's just like, because we spent the 2 episodes ago talking about your morning routine. That's a system. And then last episode we talked about the evening routine. That's a system. We talked about I don't know if we've really talked deeply about this, but we have a system for homeschooling, and like the kids understand the system and understand how it works and where they fit into this, so that they're largely autonomous, and it's really liberating for us. And so we know our place in that system, they know their place in that system. We have a system for chores and like keeping your house clean and personal hygiene and self-care and mindset, all this kind of stuff. And why does this matter? Because when you come up with systems, your brain is free to focus and spend its best energy on things that matter, on human connection, on relationships, on strategy, on observing, on thinking, and becoming a person who's valuable, a person with a purpose, a person who's well-grounded, well-centered. Okay? It matters because a sovereign individual must have systems so that they can be free. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because it's like, well, a system sounds like rules and don't those tie you down? Well, no. Human beings want the freedom to choose what we think and invest our time in, but we don't want the burden to choose. And so we create systems around the things that have been figured out already, so we don't have to refigure them out every day or every time we see that thing or encounter that thing. It becomes second nature, so that we have the freedom to focus on higher, deeper things. So, hope that helps. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this was a positive return on your attention. Have an awesome day.